to get this light. I've got a light on. Oh, here we go. Can you see me okay? Can you hear me? Oh, I bet you can't hear me. No, you probably can hear me, but I'm not got the microphone plugged in, so I might be a bit silent. Let's just plug this in. There's always something, isn't there, that I forget to do. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me once I plug this in, if I can find where to plug it in. Oh, goodness. Hi everyone, just adjusting my light. I've got a light on here. Oh, you can hear me now. Yeah, you probably could hear me before, but I hadn't actually plugged the microphone in, so it wasn't working like it's supposed to work. So, how many people have we got? We've got 10 people. Duncan's here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi to everybody. Did everybody see my video that I put out before on the Rivington Pike? The Moonrise at Rivington Pike, wasn't that absolutely amazing? Yeah, so I put that video out before. It was a very kind of hastily put to... Hi Wayne. It was a very hastily put together video, as they usually are. So I headed up, hi Space Invader, I headed down to Rivington Pike yesterday because it was clear and the moon, I knew the moon was going to rise from a particular viewpoint. Now the moon is actually full tonight, but the problem is, guess what, it's raining tonight, and I knew it was going to rain tonight, so I thought I might as well go and do it last night when the moon was almost full. So it was 98.5% full, the moon last night, so it was as good as full to me. And if you saw the picture that I took, hi Mike, if you saw the picture that I took at the end of the video, you'll see that it looks as good as a full moon, really. So I think I did really well on that. I'm just looking for it now on here. Let's have a look. Where are we? So just in case you didn't see it, I'm just trying to get it for you on the screen now. Yeah, so here it is. 36 people watching. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up. We've got 36 people watching. When I did that live stream last week and I was outside, I think we had about 70 or up to 80 people watching, which was really, really good. I need to do some more outside live streams when I get the chance. Now tonight it's raining here in Blackpool. It's raining, unfortunately, so no chance of doing any stargazing or any watching the moonrise tonight, I'm afraid. It's just too wet out there. Hi Helen. Hi Nighthawk. Hi Albert Mills. Yeah, so if you haven't seen my... If you have, I prefer the outdoor one, says Matt. Yeah, well, I'll definitely do some more outdoor ones when I get a chance. Hi John Leach. Too cloudy in Sheffield. Was perfect early morning. Yeah, I know, it was really nice this morning. So I went out to do the moonrise last night. That's why I made the effort to go down to the Chorley area. It's around about a 40-minute drive from Blackpool. That's what I do to get these shots. This is what you do. If you want to get something like that, you have to kind of plan it, and then you have to go somewhere where you can get that sort of shot. And luckily enough, I managed to get the shot. And just in case you haven't seen it, or to anyone that hasn't seen the picture I got last night, there it is there. Sorry about the light there. Belting it down in Brisbane, says Nighthawk. Look at that. Yeah, so that's the shot that I got last night over Rivington Pike, and you can see people, can't you? You can see people actually at the top of the summit. Next to that, I think they call it a folly or something. It's like some rich person back in the olden days, back in the Victorian times, decided he wanted to build like a little castle on top of the pike, so that's what you get. And if you happen to be in the right place, if you know where to go, which is what I did, thanks Sharon. So I used an app called the Photographer's Ephemeris. There are various apps you can use. There's photo pills to get the angle of where the moon is going to rise and the sun and all that sort of thing, and they really help you to decide where you need to be able to get a shot like this, because you do need to be in a particular position to be able to get a shot like that. You need to know where the moon is going to be at that time, and also you also need to be using a long lens. Now I was using a 300mm lens, which is quite a powerful lens, but I also stuck a 2x converter on it, so it made it up to 600mm, so that made a bit of a difference as well. So who else have we got? Paul Oates, hi, says it's cloudy. I think it's pretty much like that everywhere, isn't it? I went to the Bispham Chippy today. Love the steak pudding, says Mike. Sharon says she lives near Rivington. Nice area around there. It is pouring down in Grangemouth, says Helen. Seems to be like that everywhere. Hi, Diane. Yeah, so that's what I was doing last night. And there's another thing as well, is that I said that the moon is actually full today. It's actually 100%, well, roughly 100%. You know, you never actually get a 100% full moon. And the reason for that is because the sun is always going to be at a slight angle to the moon. We're never going to see. The only time, in fact, the only time you ever get a full moon that's evenly lit from one side to the other, guess when? Is when it's a lunar eclipse. Yeah, it's when it's directly opposite the sun and the Earth's shadow is in the way, and the Earth casts a shadow across the moon, and it looks like a blood red moon. And that's the only time you ever get a properly full moon that's evenly lit from one side to the other. Yeah, because it's directly opposite the sun. So a full moon is never actually 100% lit. It's usually about 99.9 or something like that. So yesterday it was 99.5, and it was full tonight. So, but I knew last night, 42 people watching, hit the like button. Oh, we're going up. Let's get some more people in. Yeah, just talking about the moonrise and how I captured that moonrise over Rivington. I'll just show the picture again if anyone's just coming in. There it is there. That's the picture I got last night. Rivington Pike in Lancashire. It's it overlooks Chorley. So that's the top of Rivington Park. If anyone knows where Winter Hill is and the massive TV transmitter, it's not too far from there. You can see that from the top of there, yeah. And look, we've even got people on there as well. I was really glad that there were people up there, you know, because I think having the humans up there, it gives it a better sense of scale. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the building. It's nice to have the building, but to have people up there as well, it just makes the moon look even bigger. Hi, Ram fan. You know, someone said to me, they said, I think they seem to think that the moon is sometimes that big when it rises. They said, when do you see the moon that big? I said, it's all to do with the perspective. It's all to do with the perspective. And me using a telephoto lens from a distance that makes the moon look much bigger and the people look really small. Mini Cooper Trooper, hi. 48, can we get to 50? Yeah, we've got a few more people coming in. I'm just talking about the moon. Oh, I've got a quiz, by the way. I've got a quiz. This will make the viewers go up, hopefully. I've got a quiz, and I'm only going to do until about 8:45. About 8:45. I'm going to do about 8:45, and I've actually got a quiz. So maybe at about past, we'll get on with the quiz. So yeah, I've definitely got a quiz. I've got it right here. I won't show you the answers. Hopefully you won't see them, but I do actually have a quiz. Now, if you haven't seen the video that I did on Rivington Pike, I put it out at 6 o'clock tonight. So and you know, the funny thing is as well, I went to Rivington Pike. I went down there, and like I say, it's about 45 minutes drive down there. It's not too bad. It's fairly local. Hi, Brian. Thanks for that. Hi, Ben. R28. So it's not that far away. But you don't really want to have to travel all the way down there and get nothing. But you know, whenever you do anything like you're trying to get a picture of the moon and you're trying to get it over something like that, you're trying to get your angles and then there's cloud and all that sort. There's all sorts of things that can kind of ruin it for you. And the amount of times that I've failed in my attempts to get a moon like that rising and all sorts of things getting in the way, well, more times than I care to remember, really. But last night, fortunately, I managed to get it. But it was close, I have to say. It was pretty close last night. And I had to do a bit of moving around. And what I had to do is I was trying to film the moon coming over as it was, but I couldn't do it because I had to hop over this fence. In the end, to get the moon lined up with the tower. Oh, I'll just catch up with these comments, sorry. Hi Karen, hi Duncan, hi Hazel. She said her granddaughter loved the moon pics. Got a clear patch of sky, going to have a try catch up soon. Someone had a question because morning and winter solstice night, going to see sunrise somewhere, church, 30 years now and see the same thing, says Paul Oakes. Yeah, so like I said, there's all sorts of things that can get in your way. You can get cloud in your way. You might not be able to get in the position. Maybe there's a tree in the way, you know. Your path might be blocked. I was even thinking there might be a hedge in the way last night because there was a giant hedge. And I thought, if I have to move towards the right, the hedge is going to be in the way. But luckily enough, I could only move to the left to get the moon lined up. Now, when I first saw the moon last night, when I first saw it creeping above the hill, I knew where I had to move, and I had to move to the left. So luckily enough, I had loads of room to move to the left, but I did get to a gate, and I thought, oh no, there's a gate here. And that meant, I mean, I could climb over the gate. I did climb over the gate, but I couldn't take my camera with me. I couldn't take my film camera with me, so I had to take my photo camera with me and just take pictures because I was in that much of a hurry to get the moon. I had to do that and just leave the film camera behind, so the video didn't actually catch me, but I do put the pictures on at the end, so that's all right, Wayne. I got a clear view south looking about 5:30, looks as close as possible. See it going down while sat on the M4 this morning, says Luke Frampton. Yeah, there's a chance to see the moon go down tomorrow, yeah. I think it sets around about 8 o'clock. What is it, 8 o'clock? Or is it 7 o'clock? No, 7. It could be 7 o'clock, couldn't it? It sets after... No, it sets half an hour after sunrise. So what time is sunrise tomorrow? It's getting earlier, isn't it? Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:30. Now the moon sets tomorrow at around about 5 to 8 from where we are. So there's a chance to see the moon going down over the sea. So I might nip out and see that. Thanks, Nato. Have you ever seen the sunsets in the Lake District? Yeah, I've seen some nice sunsets up there, Mini Cooper, yeah. Thanks for last night's video. The penny district need to be as far away as possible from the foreground to make the moon and foreground look bigger. Yeah, that's right, Camper Drone. It's all about distance from the subject. Now, if you've ever seen my pictures of Blackpool Tower and the moon, I'm usually miles away from the tower. And the further you get away from a landmark, the further you get away, the landmark gets... The landmark, could you imagine my hand's a landmark? Imagine my hand's Blackpool Tower. Now, if you were... As I move my hand away, let's say it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Well, the same thing happens with landmarks. But the moon will never get smaller. It will never get smaller. No matter how far away on the earth you try to run away from the moon, if you see the moon in the sky and you run the opposite way, it's not going to get smaller. But the landmarks will get smaller, and it's all about getting a landmark lined up with the moon from a distance, 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever, and the more distance you've got between the landmark, the more you can make the moon look even bigger than ever. Hi Gadget Mikey. Is a 70 by 300 good for astrophotography? I don't think so, really, because it's a fairly slow lens. I'd say that's an f4 to 5.6. I don't think it would be a very good... It would be good for the moon, probably, at 300mm, but I don't think it's a good astro lens because it's not very fast. Now we can see the bright moon in the clouds. Looked awesome, says Hazel. Yeah, so like I say, it's all about getting some distance between you and the landmark. So say for instance Blackpool Tower, if I was at the foot of Blackpool Tower and the moon happened to be right above the top of it and I took a picture, the moon would be like this. It'd be like a little tiny thing in the sky. But if I drove a mile away from Blackpool Tower, well, I'd be looking at Blackpool Tower almost like that. I'd be looking at it, you know, because I'm so far away. And if I was to capture the moon above it then, the moon would look quite a bit bigger. It would make a massive difference. I'd be using a telephoto lens as well. So that's why, that's the difference. So the three-quarter moon other night in Castleford, the sky was that clear. Yeah, it doesn't seem that long ago since it was like it was a waxing gibbous. Some of the questions I've got as well are actually to do with the moon. In fact, they're to do with the moon and Jupiter. Now, I saw a bright light. If you saw my video, I saw a bright light coming up above the hill before the moon came up, and I wondered what it was. I thought it was a plane, and guess what? It was Jupiter. Can you believe that? I mistook Jupiter for a plane. Oh my goodness, it was so bright as well. I even thought it might be a helicopter. Yeah, can you believe that? I mistook Jupiter for... Even the Starman can get mixed up with the planets because Jupiter is so bright. If you'd have looked out last night at the moon, you might have seen Jupiter just above it. So if you think you've never seen a planet before, it might be a good idea to go out, or maybe if you're out last night, you will have seen Jupiter. Tonight it'll be a bit different. The moonrise is quite a bit later, so the Jupiter will be somewhere near Jupiter. Not too far off. Jupiter will be ahead of the moon. It'll be towards the right-hand side of the moon. But at the moment, yeah, it's close enough that if you do get a chance to see the moon tonight and you look towards the right of it, you should see Jupiter up there. You cannot miss it. It is the brightest thing in the sky apart from the moon at the moment. It is so bright, Jupiter. Yeah, and the reason for that is because it's at opposition. What lovely pictures of the Lake District sunset on my phone, absolutely gorgeous, with 4K quality camera. So we've got 54 people watching now, and what I'll do is, because we've got some more people in, I'll just show you that picture again. So I managed to get a picture of the full moon, or nearly full moon. Hi, Moon and Jupiter out, says Barry Fullwood. Oh. Well, I think that there are chances, you know, that it's raining here at the moment. I don't think we're going to have a chance to see it, but I think there are breaks somewhere around, so it's not total cloud everywhere. But yeah, that's what I got, just in case anyone didn't see it. There's a moon over Rivington Pike, which I captured last night. And you can see that on the video that I put out before this live stream. And you can see they've got this castle type structure at the top of the hill there that was built in Victorian times. And that's the summit of Rivington Pike overlooking Bolton and Chorley. And we've also got some people on there as well who are up there. And they must have had a cracking view of the moonrise. But it won't have looked that big to them. It's just the perspective of where we're looking at it from. And I'm using a long lens to get right into the moon there. And I'm making it look really big. But to those people up on the hill, the moon just looked like any other moon. It didn't look that big to them. I'm making it look that big with the lens I'm using and the distance that I am from the actual summit up there. Got my Lake District holiday visit. I'll tell you where to go. Oh. I would be proud to have that picture on my wall, says Paul. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I was really happy to get it because I've tried it before, that shot, and I got unlucky. We were very unlucky last time we tried it. I don't know if I've got the picture on here, but the last time that I tried to get the picture of Jupiter over Rivington Pike, we just missed it. We literally just missed it. I went down there with a friend and we were so unlucky. And the reason why we missed it is because cloud. We were in place. We were waiting for the moon to come up. It was all clear. The moon was going to rise. We were in the right place, or we think we were in the right place anyway. And cloud came along and just spoiled it. So I didn't manage to get it that time. But, you know, that's what happens, you know, sometimes, you know. I'll just show you a couple of other pictures here. You know, here's an example of the moon over the tower there. Can you see that? The tower and the moon. see spotlights out of the side of the tower for? I've never seen them before. I don't know, Lancashire Liberty. But you see, that was taken from about 2 miles away. And look how big the moon is compared to the tower. And it's all because I'm so far away. You know. Can you see? It's because I was a long way from the tower. I was about, well, I'll tell you where I was when I took that picture. I was on the De Vere golf course, which is opposite Stanley Park. So I took that picture there from, if anyone knows Blackpool, I was in the De Vere, I was on the De Vere golf course, which is the other side of Stanley Park, to get that picture there. And here's another one of the moon down the road. Look at that there, rising down the road. Look at that. With cars. Massive moon down. That's how it looks down the road. Yeah. Look at that. You can do some amazing things. It's all about anticipating where the moon is going to rise and then using a long lens, if you've got a long lens, and grabbing that shot there when it starts to rise. If you're lucky enough to not have any cloud in the way or anything like that. Here's another thing you can do, a crescent moon. You can get a crescent moon, and it's by the big wheel there. I've got it by the big wheel. So it just gives it a bit of, you know, it just makes a photograph, doesn't it? Yeah. If there was someone actually on the big wheel, it would have been nice. But the thing is, they were actually constructing the wheel at that time. It wasn't complete. It would have been nice to have someone on that carriage there with the hand on the moon, wouldn't it? What's that app you use that tells you where an object will be? It's called the Photographer's Ephemeris. Steve H. The Photographer's Ephemeris, yeah. Other apps are available, like, what's the other one? Photo Pills, that's a good one. I don't know about the spotlights, Lancashire Liberty. I might have to have a look and see. Yeah, so that's what you can do. These are all the things that you can do. Now, I just want to show you something else you can do. I don't know if anyone saw this picture, but I even did it with the sun. Yeah, look at this. St Anne's Beach. You see, that's my friend there holding the sun up. Can you see? Look at that. He's so strong. He can hold up the sun. Yeah, it's a similar thing. I'm a long way away with a telephoto lens. And I've used the telephoto lens, and I've told him to go and run over to the jetty. You go and run over to the jetty, put your hands in the air, and then I just wait for the sun to drop down, and he's holding the sun up. And it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, so what do you think to that? You can even do it with the sun. Now imagine if that was a moon. Wouldn't it be amazing? Yeah, well, there you go. That, I'd have to make a note of that, won't I? I could do that. Just managed to capture the moon in a break from the clouds in Sheffield. Is that tonight, John? I don't think there's much chance of us seeing the moon here in Blackpool tonight. I think it's a little bit too cloudy. Just thanks, Mini Cooper. Yeah, so Steve, I'll just show you the app. Thanks, Duncan. I'll just show you the app. The app is this one. Can you see this here? This is the app that shows you all the angles. It's called the Photographer's Ephemeris. You have a date at the top and you have the map. It's like a Google map, and it shows you the times and everything down here. And you see all these lines. Those lines represent where the sun is, where the moon is, and where it's going to move to and where it's going to rise. And all that helps you to find out where the moon is going to rise. It all kind of helps, because remember, before these apps came out, you had to use like a chart. You'd have to draw something. You'd have to like use a compass or something like that. It must have been a whole lot harder. Well, it's a lot easier now. But even so, you still need a lot of luck on your side if you're going to capture the moon, because you don't want any cloud in the way. Because I've been clouded out. I've had trees getting in the way. I've had all buildings getting in the way. And you just never know sometimes. When you plan a shot like this, you just never know sometimes what's going to happen. But anyway, you can watch my video. If you haven't seen it, watch the video after this, and you'll see how I managed to capture that moon, where I was, what I was thinking before I went there, and what I was using to capture it. And I also put the settings on there as well. So it's not the most perfect video, because I didn't manage to capture the end bit. I had to leave my camera on the other side of the fence and just go and photograph the moon and then come back and show the pictures. I use the Olympus OMD EM Mark 1 and Olympus 200mm processor. The Olympus is a good system. It really is a nice little camera, that, you know. I think I had one of them at one time and it was a lovely little camera. I wish my camera was a bit smaller. Stephen, did you say you used a 300mm lens? Yes, I used a 300mm lens, which is pretty much the minimum lens you need to photograph the moon on a full frame camera. I would say it's the minimum focal length to get a decent shot of the moon. You could probably go to 200 maybe on my camera, because my camera's got a lot of megapixels and they kind of make up for it. But generally, a 300mm lens would be about the minimum that you can get away with. Now, you can put a 2x converter on, and you have to watch what you're doing, because my lens is a 300mm f4. Now, what happens when you put a 2x converter on a 300mm f4 lens? It becomes a 600mm f8. Now, the number's important. f8 basically means the amount of light coming into your lens is drastically reduced. It's drastically reduced by 2 stops. So you need to compensate for that. So yes, you've got a nice 600mm lens now, but at the same time, the amount of light coming into the lens is drastically reduced because you put that converter on. I have a lot of knowledge, Stephen. You should do a book. Yeah, I'm Lancashire Liberty. I'm going to start writing a book this winter about astronomy, about the astro thing. I think it'll be a fairly, well, it'll be more of a picture book, I think. I want to keep it, I don't want to do too many words, you know. I want to keep it pretty pictures and say how I did it and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I definitely want to do a book, because I think I'd do quite well, actually. I'd like to do a book, yeah, so we'll have to see about that, yeah. Sony Xperia, yeah, you can do good pictures of the moon with a phone, you know, not bad, not bad. Will it be cloudy next Sunday when I'm in Blackpool? I've no idea, Sarah. How do we know what it's going to be like in a week? Does anybody know? Yeah, so that's how I managed to get the shots of the moon. And here's another one as well. I showed that on the video. There's the one with the jetty. So you can see sometimes jetty that, oh, it goes a funny colour there, doesn't it? There's the jetty and there's the moon just coming up over the hills. Can you see? And look, why does it keep changing colour like that? I think it's just because I'm pointing it at the screen and sometimes it plays around. 55 people watching. Hit the like button. We're talking about the moon on this video. I went out to shoot the moon last night and I also saw the Jupiter above it. Jupiter is fairly close. In fact, it doesn't matter about the moon. The moon is fairly close to Jupiter, so you won't be able to miss it, but you can see Jupiter no problem at all. It's so bright. What's the story behind that jet? Did it break off in the... Yeah, part of the jetty has broken off. Can you see that bit there? There's a bit on the top that's broken off. It's just rusted away. Can you see? That little finial thing that's on the top has broken. You know what? I just lost the connection. Oh, nightmare. Oh my goodness, I've got connection problems. Is anyone still there? I went off for ages. I didn't think it was going to come back on again. Well, it doesn't. You know, I was stood in the middle of a dark field last week for an hour and I had no problem at all with the connection. And yet here I am in a house. I'm on Wi-Fi and the connection goes. How weird is that? Yeah, that's not good. Let me know if you can hear me, everyone. Is everyone still there, by the way? It's still saying that there's over 50 people in, which is good. So, hopefully, you haven't all left. Let me know if you can hear me. I went missing for about, how long? 30 seconds there, yeah? Yeah, so I want to do this quiz, actually. But, hey, you know what's happening? Oh, you know what? Are we back on? How long was I off for then? How long? I think I was off for a while. And then I thought I'd come back on again. And you know what I've done? I've had to go into the settings and turn off Wi-Fi because it appears as though my Wi-Fi does not work very well up here. So I've had to turn off the Wi-Fi, yeah. I'm now on my network. And I was saying something. I was saying that last week I was stood in the middle of a dark field for an hour and didn't have a single dropout in connection. And yet here I am at home on Wi-Fi and I can't even get a perfect connection. Well, I'm glad most of you are still here. We've got 40 odd people watching, but yeah, it just went off there. They just lost the connection for no reason at all. I think it's my Wi-Fi because I'm now using the mobile network. I've switched onto the mobile network and it's working all right now. Yeah, I was off for a while, wasn't I? Just got into all this stuff. Thanks for you and your channel. Thanks, John Hewitt. Yeah, I think I've got it right now, Lancashire Liberty. Yeah, I think it's to do with the Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi, because I'm now working on the network and it seems to be working all right. Check out lenticular printing. The 3D picture would look amazing with the tower lightning. Says nuclear sparks. I'm just trying to catch up with your comments. Lancashire Liberty says his comment was that good it crashed the, or question was that good it crashed the stream. Yeah. Yeah, I was glitching, Sarah. Yeah, and I was just trying to catch up with the comments. Anyway, yeah, it could be power cuts, couldn't it? Evening from Sutton Coldfield, says Scott Tarpley. Hi, Scott. Hazel says, got to go now. Bye, Hazel. So anyway, let's get on with this quiz, shall we? Who's ready for the quiz? Here we go. 10 questions in about 15 minutes. And they're all to do with the moon and Jupiter. Right. How far away is the moon on average? How far away is the moon from the Earth on average? So roughly to the nearest, tens of thousands of kilometres or miles. Hi there from Portugal. Many clouds here in Portugal. Dr. Bayer. Well, Portugal's pretty good for astro. In fact, is it the Algarve? I think it's the Algarve. There's a place on the Algarve that's supposed to be pretty good for astronomy. People go. Live 4,000 miles. I think if it was 4,000 miles away, I think we'd be in serious trouble. Yeah, it would actually be on the Earth if it was 4,000 miles away. How far away is the Earth? Anthony Goodwin, that's a good answer. On average, because sometimes it's a bit further, sometimes it's a bit closer. There's a bit of a, yeah, Steve, that's right, yeah, got some good answers now. No, I'm from countryside. I struggle to read the screen with these glasses on. I can read better without them. So, oh damn, I'm usually good with miles long. Yeah, 3,000 kilometres. A bit more than that, nuclear sparks. It's actually 380,000 kilometres or 240,000 miles rounded off. That's on average. Now, it can be a bit closer and it can also be a little bit further away. So that's the average distance of the moon, 240,000 miles or 380,000 kilometres roughly thereabouts. So it's quite a long way away, but we do need the moon, otherwise we'd be in big trouble. And the moon doesn't orbit the Earth. It doesn't strictly orbit the Earth. It actually orbits the barycenter, which is the center of gravity between the Earth and the moon. Now, the barycenter between the Earth and the moon is actually inside the Earth, so the Earth wobbles. As the moon goes around the Earth wobbles a little bit. Yeah, so we do get a bit of a wobble. There's all sorts of movements going on. Hi, Farang Travels. Right, next one. How long does the moon take to orbit the Earth? So how long does the moon take to go around the Earth? Hi Steve, is it wet? Starman. Saneco. Starman Steve. It is, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, there is a chance. That question was, how long does it take the moon to go around the Earth? How long does it take to make a complete orbit? No, I think we've got full-on rain from now right up until after midnight, I'm afraid. But it could be clear in the morning for the moonset, so I might have to get out for that for the moonset tomorrow. Eddie Jones, 27 days. Yeah, that's good. 27, yeah, good enough. Because the Pandemic start to photograph many stars and star trail. 28 days, that's good. Literally, yeah, about right. In fact, you're pretty much in the middle, yeah. You're 27 or 28 is good enough. It's 27.3 to be exact, 27.3 days. It takes 27.3 days for the moon to go around the Earth completely. 27.3 days. It's called the sidereal rate. It's called the sidereal period. A month, Chris Haywood, yeah. Well, that's it, you see. A month is a bit longer than that, isn't it? So it takes a lunar month. So obviously that's a lunar month, yeah. Okay, how long? So let's say you see a full moon in the sky tonight. If it was a full moon, and it is a full moon tonight, how long will it be before the next full moon? So how many days from tonight's full moon until we get another full moon? Do you know? It is an exact time as well. It's how long? So we said the moon goes around the Earth, completely orbits the Earth completely in 27.3 days. But in those 27.3 days, it doesn't go from one phase back to the other phase. It will be a different phase at the end of that period. 28 days, a bit longer for. Well, we're sort of there. Yeah, we're a little bit. I think who's the closest? Chandler Bing Bong? No. Anthony Goodwin says Dr. Bayard. Yeah, down there in Portugal is closest. I hope you've got your name right. He's the closest for 29. Sarah says 29. It's actually 29 and a half, near enough. 29 and 12 hours and a bit. 29.5 days for the full moon to go back to full moon again. Chris Hayward says 21. Yeah, it takes 29 and a half days for the full moon to go back to full moon. Whatever. It could be a half moon to go back to a half moon. For or a new moon to go back to new moon. Is it 1 or more hours every day? Yeah, it's very, very complicated, really. It's really, really complicated when you get into it. But yeah, that's how long the moon takes to go from one phase and back to that phase again. 29.5 days. And that's called the synodic period. So there you go, two different types of looking at the moon and thinking, oh, well, it takes 27.3 days to go around the Earth, but it takes 29 and a half days to complete its phase from from a full moon back to a full moon again. Looks like I don't have a clue, Lol says Nuclear. October 29th. Yeah, well, we're not too far off. We're close enough with that one. What are the lunar? You know when you look at the moon and you see the black bits, they look a bit like a face, and it's got dark bits on it. What are those called? Do you know what they're called? Well, actually, they're called the seas, but what's the actual name of the seas? There's an actual name for them. Does anyone know what those seas are actually called? There's a name for them. Yeah, they look a bit like seas. They look a bit like a face. I thought I was good with space till I met you, Stephen. Haha. Yeah, I was just saying I've been doing a few talks for camera clubs and astronomy clubs lately, and I said I learned everything in pretty much the last 10 years. Well, actually, it's going on 13 years now, but Sea Tranquility, well, that's one of them. No, it's not really the answer I'm looking for. What's the name? There's an actual name, it's Latin. I've said they're called seas, but there's another name that they have that's a Latin name. You're all right in a way because tranquility is a sea. Yeah, they're not seas. They used to think they were, even though back in the olden days, they used to think there was actually water. But what it is, it's actually like volcanic basalt. And you know, the moon looks bright, but it is not bright. The moon is soot. It is black, the moon. Oh my God, the moon is black. Did you see the astronauts when they came back from the moon? Their clothes, their boots were absolutely sooted up because the moon is black. Now, the seas, the actual seas, are a bit darker than the rest of the moon. So they look a little bit darker than the rest. So, you know, you look at the moon and you think, oh, it looks really, really white. Oh, it looks, that's because it's getting blasted by sunlight. But it's not. It's really dark. Maria, hey, got it. Michael Clarkson, well done. Michael Clarkson got it. Lunar seas. Yeah, they are the seas. the seas, but not seas really. They used to think there were seas, but it's actually volcanic. It's like what happened millions of years ago. Volcanic melted basalt, and they sort of splodged out and caused like a really smooth surface compared to the rest of the moon. And it looks a little bit darker. It looks darker. Well, I'm just saying now that the actual moon is black. It is black. The moon is so black. But the seas are a little bit blacker. Yeah, so there you go. Amazing. You wouldn't think it, would you? Eddie Jones got it. Maria. Maria. Right, okay. Number 5. When would you expect to see a slim crescent moon, a waning crescent moon rising? When would you expect to see a slim waning crescent moon rising? When would you expect to see something like that? A slim waning crescent moon rising. When would you expect to see that? There's a particular time when you would see a slim waning crescent moon rise. There's a certain time when you would see something like that. Now think about it. A waning moon is a very slim. A slim waning moon would look like a crescent, obviously, and it would be lit up on the left-hand side. Bye, Mini Cooper. Next January, says Dr. Bayard. Bye, Mini Cooper. So when would you expect to see a slim crescent waning moon? Sarah Illingworth. You're all saying times of the year. I mean, you would see them. You would probably see it a few times every month, and it would be a particular time of the day when you would see it. A slim crescent waning moon. That's a moon that's lit up on the left-hand side. Any time of the day when you would see that. When you would see it rising. I think I might need to step in with this one. It's probably a bit difficult. You would expect to see a slim, Steve H has got it done. Yeah, in the morning, you would expect to see a slim crescent waning moon rise before the sunrise. Before the sunrise, because it'll be in front of, it'll be ahead of the sun, because it's a waning moon. Yeah. So it'll be lit up on the left-hand side because it's close to the sun from our perspective. So using Stellarium is cheating. I think I can let you off for that. So you would expect to see a slim crescent waning moon before sunrise. And they do look really, really nice. In the same opposite, it's the exact opposite, hi Mike, of a waxing crescent moon seen in the evening after sunset. It's just the other way around. A waxing crescent moon will be lit up on the right-hand side because the sun is ahead of the moon. So the sun sets, and then you see the crescent moon in the sky, and then that will soon follow the sun. So it just depends on which side of the sun it's on from our perspective. Right, okay. I'm going to move a bit quicker now. I've got some more questions. How far away, talking about Jupiter now, because Jupiter was up there last night. Jupiter, how far away is Jupiter from the sun? Does anyone know? Roughly in, should I say miles? I like to use miles, mate, because I'm not very good at kilometres. Or you could even use AU if you're clever. How many AU or how many thousands of miles? In fact, I'll probably be way out with thousands of miles. A long way. Yeah, well, you're right. You are right, Lancashire. It is a long way. Oh, Chandler Bing. Well, that's a good answer. That's good. On 2006 kilometres. You know, I'm not so sure, Dr. Bad. You might be right with that, you know. 150 million. A bit further away than that. It's actually around about 5 AU. Now, in an AU, there's 93 million miles. So if you work that out, I think Chandler Bing Bong is probably closest, around about 450 million miles, roughly. Something like that, something in that area. I might not be exact there, but all I'm saying is that Jupiter is around, it's actually 5.2 AU, so we're probably somewhere close to 500 million miles away, roughly, roundabout. Yeah, Chandler Bingham gets the trophy there. An AU is the average distance between the Earth and the Sun, which is 93 million miles. And they use the AU as a measuring tool. So it means you're not having to use loads of zeros. You can just say, oh, it's 5 AU, which means it's 5 times the distance of the Earth and Sun. And it just means you're using less numbers. Definitely no McDonald's drive-through at that distance. Marie Foster, what did she say? Hi Marie. Okay, next question. How many moons has Jupiter got? How many Galilean moons? Now, Jupiter does have a lot of moons, but how many of the Galilean moons are there? These are the ones that Galileo discovered. Sarah's just put a really big number in there. Oh, clever Mike. Hey, I like that picture of the Andromeda Galaxy. That was absolutely awesome. Cracking photo of the Andromeda Galaxy. You know, I was just talking to someone the other day as well about that. I said, it's not that easy to do, you know. It's not easy to photograph the Andromeda Galaxy and blow out that core. Yeah? Because you can take a picture of it and that core can just go and you'll never get it back in processing. So you really have to make sure you don't blow that core out. There are 4 Galilean moons around Jupiter. Yeah, so well done whoever said 4. Yeah. We ain't too far off. Some people said 3, some have said 5. But yeah, not too bad. Why is Jupiter particularly bright at the moment? It's particularly bright in the sky. Does anyone know why? Now this goes back to last week. It's particularly bright at the moment than it has been for the rest of the year. But at the moment it's shining really, really bright. Does anyone know why? There's a reason. I'll tell you what, it's getting warm in here, you know. I'll take my jacket off in a minute. Thanks for your video, says Marie. Oh, no problem at all. At its closest to the sun. Well, that Mike saying at its closest to the sun is part of the answer, but I think it's more to do with it being opposition than being closer. Jupiter is a little bit closer to us than it has been for a long time. But the main reason why it's bright is more to do with it being opposite the sun from where we are. It is almost perfectly opposite the sun. So what they call it is opposition. It's at opposition. So it's the reason why it's so bright is because it's literally opposite the sun from where we are. So that's why it's a lot brighter than it normally is. The distance, with it being a bit closer, does make a bit of a difference, but nowhere near as much as what it is being at opposition. So Jupiter was at opposition last Monday. It was slap bang opposite the sun. And I think for the next month or so, it's literally it's as good as opposition, and then it's going to move around a bit. It probably won't be quite as bright, but it'll still be really, really bright in the sky. You won't be able to miss it. It'll be up all winter. Jupiter will be up all winter, so you've got plenty of chances to see it, just in case you haven't had a chance. Right, okay, 2 more questions, and then I'm going to have to go. What type of planet is Jupiter? It's a particular type of planet. What is it? What type of planet is Jupiter? There's a name for it. What type of planet? Thought I'll just do a little bit. I'm supposed to do it till 1:45, but I'll do a little bit longer because I went off, didn't I? I lost the signal. Oh, Michael, hey, got a clever one in tonight. Michael's in. Michael's it. Nuclear sparks, that's right, yeah. We have field opposite. We got lovely view of the star and planet, says Marie Foster. Gas giant, but that sounds too easy. Yeah, it is a gas giant. They reckon the gas giant's on the edge of the universe because all the rocky stuff came to the middle of the solar system. I mean, came to the middle. All the rocky stuff ended up in the middle, and the only stuff that was left was gas, and that's how Jupiter and Saturn formed, and all the other ones. Yeah. So, but then again, they've also got ice giants as well, like Neptune and that sort of thing. Pluto's a rocky planet, you know, but it's basically just a big asteroid, really. Yeah. So they classified it as a planet, didn't they? Because it wasn't big enough. But yeah, Jupiter's a gas giant. A comet crashed into Jupiter back in 1994. It was long before I got into astronomy. But what comet was it? What was the name of the comet? They actually caught it on camera. A comet crashing into Jupiter. Can you believe that? Because Jupiter's so big and it has such a big gravity field that it sucks things into it. It actually acts like a hoover. So anything that comes in to the solar system from outside can get influenced by Jupiter, and it can suck them in like bits of meteors and stuff like that. And a comet hit Jupiter in 1994. It was way before I got into all this stuff, so I want to know anything about. Oh, Anthony, hello. You didn't Google that, did you? Oh, look at this here. We've got people coming up with the right answer. Anthony and Steve. Yeah, you're right there. I had to look that up, yeah. I didn't know that without look. I knew a comet hit the Jupiter. I couldn't think of the name, so I had to Google it. Helicopter flying low of a fleet, but isn't on flight radar. I might have to look that one up. More solar systems have binary stars and singular. We are unique. Yes, we are nuclear. Chelyabinsk. They have more power stations than use and can afford the bills. So there you go. It was Shoemaker-Levy, Comet Shoemaker-Levy. They actually observed it crashing into Jupiter, and it made a load of pot marks all the way along the planet. They just about caught it as it was crashing into the planet, and when the planet made a rotation, they were able to see these, like, you know, where the comet had fragmented and gone into the atmosphere, and it left these dark patches that had eventually they disappeared, but they were there for a while after. It was amazing to be able to capture that. You'll have to look it up. Comet Shoemaker-Levy hitting Jupiter, absolutely amazing. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go now because we're now on about 10 to. I said I'd do till 1:45. We've had a quiz. That's done. I think everybody did pretty well. And we lost the signal part of the way through. It was because my Wi-Fi is not very good. So I had to switch to the mobile phone network, and it seems to be working pretty well now on the mobile phone network. So anyway, thanks to everyone for watching this live stream. I'll be back again next weekend. Who knows? I might be in the middle of the field again. So we'll have to wait and see. But imagine it's sunk for a few miles before impact. Luckily it misses us. Well, there you go. You see, we've got Jupiter to do the sweeping up for us. Bye, Mike. Bye, Eddie. Bye, Sarah. Have a few beers, says Sarah. That might be a good idea. Chandler Bing Bong. Ciao. Good night. Have a good week. So bye everyone, and hopefully watch out for that video on the Rivington Moonrise as well, which I put out before this one. I'll try and do some more videos this week. If I don't, I will see you again next Sunday at 8 o'clock. That was good as the Team Ginger Cake. The team. I can't really read that. Sorry. So thanks for joining in, everyone. We had a bit of a mishap in the middle with the signal, but we managed to get it back together for the end of the quiz. And I will see you again next week.